Hello, welcome to Dregs. I'm James Watt, and my guest today is Andy Needham, owner of Approved Foods, a business on a mission to reduce food waste, and like me, an entrepreneur who was turned down by the Den. Hi, Andy.
Nice to meet you.
So before we get to the Den, tell me a little bit about the business. What does Approved Foods do?
Approved Food is a 100% online direct-to-consumer retail business, and we sell value for money products direct to the end consumer for convenience and value, like I say. We buy problem stock, and that problem stock is usually driven by short best before dates, products past best before, changes in packaging design, cancelled orders, overstocks. We buy that stock at cheap prices and sell it to our customers at cheap prices.
Food waste is actually a huge contributor to the sustainability issues we're facing as a species on this planet. You're doing your bit to solve that.
The amount of food that is wasted is absolutely criminal. It's not just the food itself, it's the resources that go into manufacturing, transporting, energy, everything that goes into producing food. And so much of it just ends up as waste, landfill, and not consumed by humans. And the damage we're doing to our planet now, future generations are going to suffer massively for it.
So let's go back a few years. When and why did you decide to take this business into the Den?
In the early stages, the producers of Dragon's Den kept getting in touch. We'd like you to apply, we'd like you to come on the show. And we kept saying, no, we're not interested, we don't need it. And then on about the fourth time, we just sat chatting one morning and said, you know, what's the worst that can happen? We'll get a bit of publicity. We didn't really need the money, but if we got an offer, then we'd consider it. When we were preparing to go into the Den, probably the first mistake we made, we looked at it as a proper investment opportunity. And it was only afterwards that we realised it's just an entertainment show. I think we asked for 150,000 for 10% of the equity. We knew all those numbers inside out. We did all the background preparation. The process just prior, so the day before, was filmed. Building doesn't exist now, but in the old pie factory. We turned up there probably 5 o'clock the previous evening, took along some examples and boxes and things like that. In the room there were probably 6 or 7 other companies, all set up their little stalls and everything to just run through and give a little bit of a background about the business and how we're going to approach the following day. Because it was in Manchester, they actually put us up overnight. That was the start of the issues. So put us up in a hotel where it was noisy, the air conditioning didn't work, didn't get an ounce of sleep that night.
You begin to wonder if that's a bit intentional to throw you off your stride.
It's the start of the process. Following morning, we had to be there at 6:45 in the morning. Did a little bit of pre-filming in the pretend lift, so we walked through with the boxers. Then they proceeded for hours and hours not telling you anything. So we got in there probably 8 o'clock in the morning, and then one by one they started disappearing. So they go through this door, nothing was said, you never saw them again, they never came back, so the room started to empty. I think there were 4 businesses went before us, and by this time we were looking at 3:30 in the afternoon, and being the lad I'm not very fit and everything, and when adrenaline starts, I've probably got 20 minutes adrenaline. When it started at 6:45 in the morning, by the time we got to 3 o'clock, I was absolutely zonked.
So you hadn't slept the night before, you'd been there since before 7.
And on edge, is it now, they tell you absolutely nothing. We were asking 150,000 for 10%. One of the producers came in, took us to one side and said, you're going to have to change your numbers. The Dragons this series haven't invested more than £80,000 on any investment. So you're going to have to change your numbers if you're going to have a chance of getting an investment. Leave it at 10%, but maximum of 80, and tell us in 2 minutes what numbers you're going to go to. That threw you totally, because you'd learnt all your numbers and everything else. And to throw that at you last minute and gave you basically 3 or 4 minutes to decide.
And this is your business, your life, your livelihood?
Everything, selling equity, as you will know, is there's a lot to gain from it, but there's a lot to lose from it as well. So they're not decisions that you just take on the hoof without looking really into it.
It's high stakes stuff.
Yeah, but that then was the start of the let's panic them. So what we're going to do, when we decided we're not going to change his numbers, we were going to go at that. And then suddenly, everything was a rush. They're ready for you now. You need to go now. You need to go now. I got through my first little bit, and on the second bit, I just had brain freeze. I got a few words out, and I just could not remember a thing. Absolutely, it was excruciating. All the dragons are sat there. There's no editing. There's no, oh, we'll do that again. It's just straight through. Luckily, Dan stepped in and came out with the next line. I composed myself a little bit and got it back together. But at that point, I was absolutely sweating like there was no tomorrow. It really did put us on the back foot.
But you seem like such a chill, confident business leader. It was so unexpected to see you struggle a little bit there.
And I do put it down to the build-up.
So you said you put your arm around Dan and said, don't worry, we're going to show them. When did you realise you had actually showed them?
It's a very difficult question, is that there isn't a moment in time. But we just knew the business that we're in was solving a problem that was out there and still continues to be out there. And I'll never say we've made it, but we're on that journey, and it's very satisfying that we're still here today and we're in the strongest position we've ever been in.
Have you seen any of the dragons since the den, and what would you say to one of them if you bumped into them in the pub or the supermarket?
Haven't seen any of them ever again. Obviously, I've watched the show since, I follow them on social media, listen to podcasts. If I saw them, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't have a clue who we were. There's so many businesses go through that sausage machine process. But I'd just say hello and thank them for what they've done for a lot of people over the years.
Would you be tempted to say hello and tell them how well your business is now doing?
Absolutely not. I'm a lad from Huddersfield. We've grown to what we've grown through our graft and work, and
love that.
It's a number. It's a number.
How much of your success would you put down to luck, and how much just to hard work?
Luck definitely comes into it, but you do make your own luck, and the harder you work, the luckier you get. Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true, is that.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
That's another great question. I think it would be go out there and start buying properties early. I've taken a very interesting career path over the years. I'm nearly 60 now, which is horrendous. But I would go a different route knowing what I know now compared to then. But I love what I do. I love trading. The thrill you get out of buying something at a price and then being able to sell it at another price. You've solved a problem for somebody, you've solved a problem for somebody else, and in the middle you've made a little bit of a contribution for yourself. So, yeah.
Andy, amazing business, fantastic story, great success story. Thank you so much for joining me today on Dragons Dregs.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.